Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. You know what? Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has a message for Meghan Markle.
Meghan, call your father.
Oh, yes, we have that in here. We're covering the royal visit. We're covering poor Thomas Markle. We're covering the Real Housewives of London, their response when it was suggested that maybe Meghan should join them. We have a lot of royals. We have a lot of this and that. We're also covering what happened at Harry's event in Toronto. You're not going to believe it. So let's just jump in and get busy because there's a lot. Oh, by the way, a big thank you to Kai Lear on Twitter for this picture above. You'll understand it more once we get into the video. Let's go. We're going to start off with the Duchess of Gloucester. She visited children at the school above, I can't pronounce that, to celebrate the opening of a new building. She was joined by the Lord Lieutenant of Cambridgeshire, Mrs. Julie Spence. They walked through some of the primary classes at the school. They listened to the sing and sign choir. They saw the sensory walkway, the sensory garden. The garden, by the way, was redeveloped by the Rotary Club. Pretty cool. The school has 5 new classrooms built specifically for pupils in early years in KS1. A soft play place, a new dining hall. Of course, she unveiled a plaque. They cut a cake. And the lady that gave her the flowers, she gave the little girl a flower back, which she just loved. Oh, so sweet. I love this woman. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the Princess of Wales, Princess Catherine. She sent a Christmas message about the importance of acts of kindness in times that can seem fragmented or uncertain. This went in a letter to guests of her Christmas Carol concert, which is taking place on Friday, which is the day you're watching this video. I will be covering that. She wrote, "The time, care, and compassion you give, often quietly and unspoken and without any expectation or recognition, makes an extraordinary difference to the lives of others." Wow, sounds like she's writing to nurses. I'm not being smart. That's what it sounds like. Alongside members of the royal family, there will be 1,600 guests, volunteers, and people who have helped local communities. There's going to be a beautifully decorated abbey, just like every time. I can't wait to see it. Let's move on. And last week, Princess Anne and Zara were seen leaving the Horse Guards. And of course, Zara was munching on a biscuit while they were leaving from the World Horse Welfare Conference. I covered that. Well, people are saying that the two of them should do more together because Zara is really down to earth and everybody loves Anne and her work ethic, and they should have more events together. I completely agree with that. Next up, we have King Charles. The Sustainable Market Initiative convened heads of state and government, including the King and global CEOs, to scale up private capital into emerging and developing economies at speed and scale. Next up, Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, was seen leaving the Mansion House in London after attending the Worshipful Company of Fuelers Future Energy Conference. Looking good, Edward. Looking good. All right, let's move on to Prince William and Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales. They went to Heathrow to greet German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and his wife on December 3rd on behalf of King Charles. This is the first official event of the German president's 3-day visit to the United Kingdom. They deplaned, they shook hands, they were seen smiling. This is the first official state visit by a German president in 27 years. And after the initial greeting and shaking of hands, the group separated. Very interesting. William and the German president got into one car, and Catherine and the wife got into a different car. I didn't realize that at first, but they headed off to Windsor Castle. Now remember, this event is the beginning of the state visit, which is aimed at strengthening diplomatic ties between the UK and Germany, and there'll be a number of official events, including the state banquet, which we will be covering. So King Charles and Queen Camilla arrived at the area at Windsor. Now, for those wondering, it's because Buckingham Palace is having renovations, remember? So everything has been moved to Windsor. And they waited, and then Catherine and William arrived to introduce the president and his wife to Charles and Camilla on the royal dais. So you see what happened. They waited on the right for Catherine and the president's wife to get out of their vehicle. And then the president and his wife went up to greet Charles and Camilla, and William and Catherine went over to the right side to stand. Now, I want you to notice this. See, Catherine gave a curtsy. Well, what happens here is she's waiting for the king and queen to look at her. Well, apparently the queen didn't see her. So they're calling it a blunder. The queen didn't see her, so she had to curtsy a second time. And the second time the queen saw her and blew her a kiss. Oh, sweet. Now, I got to be honest, one of the big headlines is Catherine changed her hair. It's straight. I've seen her with straight hair before, so I don't understand what the big hoo-ha was about. But okay, she looked absolutely gorgeous. Now, again, I'm going to try to cover everything, but it may not be exactly in the right order, but I'm going to try, okay? There was a royal salute fired in Home Park in Windsor. There was a royal salute fired at the Tower of London. Then President Steinmeier and the First Lady took part in a horse-drawn carriage procession to Windsor Castle with the royals. The king and the president were in the Irish state coach. Queen Camilla and the First Lady were in the Australian state coach. And William and Catherine took part in the procession. They were riding in the Scottish state coach with Dr. Dinger, the state secretary, head of the office of the federal president, and the vice president of the European People's Party. Now, then they got to the quadrangle of Windsor Castle. A guard of honor gave a royal salute. There was a regimental band that was playing the German and British national anthems. President Steinmeier then with the king inspected the guard of honor before going back to Queen Camilla and his wife. And then together they viewed the military rank and there was a march past. They both look absolutely gorgeous in blue, and King Charles and Prince William were in blue ties. There was something, I think they do that intentionally when this kind of stuff is going on. Then they were seen headed inside through the sovereign's entrance, and then it was time for the next event. After they got inside, it's my understanding that there was a lunch in the state dining room. And then after that, and by the way, members of the royal family joined for the lunch. After that, the king and queen invited these two to a special exhibition of items relating to Germany from the royal collection in the green drawing room. So to start with, they went to look and they spoke with Stella Panayotova, who's the royal librarian, and they looked at something that was taken by Holbein's, and she said, didn't he paint Henry VIII? And yes, he did. Catherine noticed a Meissen teapot and goes, yeah, it's nice that it's been gifted. It keeps the tradition going. Now, Rachel Underhill, who's the curator of decorative arts, said Meissen has always been a hugely desirable and is still used as diplomatic gifts. Now, as you look at the pictures coming up and the video coming up, you're going to see the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. You're going to see the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. There was a lot going on, and I just want to remind you guys that, and according to all the articles, and I knew this, but it was in the articles, that it's a really perilous time in Europe because Russia is being really aggressive in Ukraine and elsewhere. Apparently, Britain is really trying to reset its relationship with the European neighbors they have that voted to leave the EU. Now, the next day, President Steinmeier and his wife will privately visit St. George's Chapel to lay flowers on the tomb of Queen Elizabeth. I will cover that when it happens. Then they will return to the castle where they will join King Charles and Queen Camilla for a reception in partnership with the Big Help Out, showcasing the positive impact of volunteering on communities. They're also going to view the rarely seen state sleigh, which was designed by Prince Albert, who we know was German, for Queen Victoria and was recorded in the monarch's diary in 1845. And at that point, the king and queen will say farewell to their guests, and the president and his wife will undertake other non-royal related engagements in the UK. Now, at some point, and I don't know when, I looked, I couldn't figure it out, the German president went to see Sir Keir Starmer at number 10. I don't know when that happened. If it was, I don't know when it happened. Maybe after lunch, before the viewing. I don't know. But he was obviously there because there are the pictures. All right. So we knew there was going to be a state banquet. These gorgeous pictures came out showing us the preparations of the room. You know, for those of you who don't know, they actually take rulers, and they measure each cup, each fork, knife, and spoon. Everything is precisely done. I can't even imagine the amount of work that goes into these banquets. But my goodness, wouldn't you love to be there? It's fabulous. And then the moment we were all waiting for, first of all, let me just point out that Catherine took the front cover of all the newspapers. Like, that was a big surprise. And here come the royals. Now this is, first they walk in and then they meet up with the other people and then they split off. So, you know, William is walking with one person and Catherine's walking with a different person. But here's the procession as they were walking in to greet those people. First of all, Sophie looked gorgeous, and I'm not used to her hair being down, but I actually really like it down. And I love that black dress that she's wearing. And then behind her came Catherine. She looked like the night star with that color gown and that crown. That was a pale blue Jenny Packham gown, and the headpiece was Queen Victoria's Oriental circlet tiara. And that was a deliberate choice because it was a headpiece designed by Prince Albert, who was German born, for his beloved wife, Queen Victoria. It's got lotus flowers with 11 arches. It's 2,600 diamonds from Garrett's in London. It originally contained opals, but these were replaced by Victoria's daughter-in-law, Queen Alexandra, who thought them unlucky and replaced them with Indian rubies. A little bit more FYI, Victoria never wore this crown during her extremely long widowhood, but she designated it as an heirloom of the crown on her death in 1901 to be worn by future queens in right of it. Queen Elizabeth only wore it once after her mother's death in 2006, and then it's never been seen in public again. It's being reported that King Charles gave a very impressive speech during the state banquet and said, quote, "The United Kingdom and Germany are united in the continued belief in democracy, freedom, and the rule of law." And in a lighter moment, he said, "In the end, the Germans win." Mr. Steimer also gave a speech at some point in the evening. There were a lot of guests there, which included German supermodel Claudia Schiffer and her husband, Sir Matthew Vaughn. He's a filmmaker. Sir Keir Starmer was seen there sitting with his wife. And oh my God, I just can't get past these pictures of Catherine. It's like Meghan who? As if her show didn't bomb enough, she should be thankful that Catherine looks so freaking gorgeous because she took all the attention away from that bomb of a show and put it back on the royals. I mean, look at this. Oh my God. She's picture perfect. I'm telling you. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything Catherine wore at all three of the engagements during the day. Now we're going to move into our Harry Meghan stuff. Let's go. This is really sad. Meghan Markle's father is in the ICU. He underwent emergency surgery in the Philippines. He underwent 3 hours of surgery Wednesday. He remains in the ICU. He faces a second procedure to remove a blood clot. His son, Thomas Jr., said, quote, "I took Dad to a hospital close to our home, and they did various scans, and the doctors said his life was in imminent danger, and they raced us by ambulance with the sirens going to a much bigger hospital in the center of the city." He said, "My dad underwent emergency surgery, and I would ask everyone around the world to keep him in their thoughts." Now, of course, Samantha Markle said she believes the strain of the last few years has taken its toll on their father, which is probably true, and added to his fragility. She said, "He's a strong man. He's been through so much, and I'm praying he's strong enough to survive this." This guy has had 2 heart attacks, a stroke. He lived through the earthquake that happened there, and you can't get Meghan to even pick up the freaking phone and call him. All this guy wanted to do was meet his grandchildren before he dies. And now with the Christmas season and Meghan's show coming out where she's talking about family and love and traditions, the fact that she won't even call this man is just not boding well for her. All over the news, people are going, "Meghan, call your dad, call your dad." FYI, GB News had something to say. They're always spot on. And because it was 6 minutes long, I edited it down for you. So listen carefully, especially what they say about Doria.
They're calling it a world exclusive, Malone.
Yes, this is about Meghan Markle's father. Is apparently, well, they're saying that he's dying. He's in intensive care, and he's just had emergency surgery in the Philippines. He's 81, and of course the big question that everyone's asking is. Will Meghan Markle, who is currently on Netflix doing her Christmas special, talking about the importance of family at Christmas, the big question is whether she will go and visit her ailing father. We know she hasn't seen him since she got married. That was about 5-6 years ago. Harry has never met him. But it just would seem incredible that she has spent the last 2 years talking about the importance of family, banging on about how important it is to be close, and especially at Christmas. And the likelihood is she will not go and see her dying father.
What would you advise?
I would advise her to do it. She shouldn't have to be told to go and see him. This is a woman who talks about compassion all of the time. She talks about compassion for others. She wanted to make her living travelling around the world, making life better for disadvantaged people. So where's her compassion for the father who actually brought her up, who paid for her private education while her mother was in jail, who took huge care of her? And she's not seen him in the latter years, more importantly. She's not just seen him, she's totally snubbed him.
When was her mum in jail? When was her mum in jail?
Years ago.
Didn't know that.
Do you want me to give you the precise date, time? Because I haven't got it.
I've never heard that forever.
Years ago. This old gentleman now could be dying.
Yeah.
He needs to see his daughter.
I have no regrets at all.
Maybe it isn't all about the person. Maybe it's about the person who was ill, not about Meghan, not about what she thinks. Maybe to give her father some comfort.
It's also more poignant. It's Christmas.
It's completely Christmas.
Families come together.
And, this show that she is currently recording, I think even if she, on a very commercial level, if she doesn't go to see him now, everything she has preached on this show and over the last 2 years will be trashed. It will be rubbish. It will show she doesn't have any compassion. And, the truth of it is, Jonathan, it doesn't matter what's happened in life to people. Every family falls out. Every family fights, and some of them are terrible. But when someone is at the very end, you should at least have the compassion, the good grace, because she hasn't just fallen out with her dad, she's fallen out with her entire family. She doesn't speak to any of her family. Now, there's lots of...
Same with Harry.
Same with Harry. There's lots there's lots of talk out there that her family just wasn't good enough for her new role in life, wasn't classy enough, wasn't smart enough, didn't look the part to be the family of a duchess. There's all of that going on, but I don't think it matters what you fell out over.
Did you guys catch that about Doria? Well, all I can say is karma is a thing. And even though Thomas Markle doted on her and raised her up and she's doting on her children, I have a feeling they're going to treat her the same way she's treated Thomas Markle. Now, within hours of her special launching, and it has been panned across the board, which I think that's the end of her Netflix deal, she now is sharing a video of chocolate being melted down because guess what? She's going to start selling chocolate. Now, we all know that you can buy chocolate bars online from Hershey and wherever, and you can have labels put on for birthdays and bar mitzvahs. She's probably doing the same thing. She's buying pre-done chocolate and just having her wrapper put on it. Let me tell you guys something. If I wanted chocolate, I would go to the store and get some Hershey's. And if I wanted something, more elevated, I'd get Swiss chocolate or German chocolate. I wouldn't get what she's selling. In an attempt to keep herself in the headlines, she's still putting out these ridiculous behind-the-scenes videos from her Harper's Bazaar interview because she thinks it's helping her. People still can't get over the fact that she's having herself announced into houses that nobody is in. There's something mentally wrong with this woman. There's something wrong with her. And then people noticed also during her Netflix show, in an attempt to be relatable, she was wearing almost $500,000 worth of jewelry. All right, let's move on. All right, let's move on now to Harry's, visit to Toronto, where he was talking at the Ontario Real Estate Association annual Powerhouse Conference. Well, the Daily Mail was really interested, and so they went there, and they wanted to hear what was being said. So immediately, the president, Kathy Poland, declared herself, quote unquote, royally excited as she opened up the day's events. Then Premier Doug Ford, and for those of you who don't know, he once told Harry and Meghan that they were welcome to live in Canada, but Canadians wouldn't pay for their security. He spoke of the affordable housing and slammed Donald Trump, whose tariffs he blamed for the rising cost of living. So as the event's first speaker, Ford anticipated a day of conversations with change makers, politicians, analysts, professionals, academics, and Prince Harry. Now, people are wondering, what the heck could Harry have to add to this? Notice, by the way, how empty the place was. So then Harry finally arrives, takes his seat for a fireside chat, and he was asked what advice he could give to professionals facing major challenges, what wisdom might follow. And he says, quote, "I'm not here to give advice, especially not in housing." You guys should know that this person, this reporter, filmed Kathy Poland's introductory words, and before Harry even got on the stage, she got escorted from the room and was forced to delete the offending footage. Harry later on, by the way, said that his aversion to photography extended to his pets. He said, "I'll be out walking Pula and somebody will go, 'Can I take a picture of your pet?' And he'll go, 'No, you can't.'" Now, Harry was asked a question about advice for professionals in crisis, and this was his answer. "I come from a unique standpoint, a unique upbringing, a life of service, and I'll always be a part of what I was born into. I made the conscious decision to put my wife and family first, also very much wanting to continue that service." What the hell does that have to do with the question he was asked? Absolutely nothing. He goes, "When I was in my 20s, I wanted to put my head in the sand, my fingers in my ears, and avoid public life entirely. Look what it did to my mom. But then I realized I had to pull myself together. You have a platform. At first, service was experienced because I had to do it. And the change was I wanted to continue to do it because I enjoy it." But what has that got to do with real estate? Absolutely nothing. Now, Oreo was asked the details of Harry's appearance fee, and they refused to give it. And when he was asked what made a good leader, he left the crowd guessing, going, "We know what it's not, right? We have a very good demonstration of exactly what it isn't." Now, here's the interesting part. Coaching and therapy, he noted, were particularly helpful. 99% of us walk around with some form of unresolved grief, trauma, or loss. So what does that tell me? That tells me that he's there for Better Up. He's pushing Better Up in Canada. Then, of course, he's lightening the mood by talking about the city has a special place in his story because it's where his romance with Meghan first bloomed. Ugh. Finally, they asked him what his ideal Toronto community would look like, and he goes, "Well, it wouldn't be a city. I'm not a fan of cities. I do better in the outdoors. And my wife and I fled to Vancouver Island, and even that wasn't remote enough, so maybe an island within an island." And with that, his time was up. They paid him for that? Are you kidding? And when this was over, Prince Harry and Doug Ford went out to a dinner along with other political figures and real estate agents. He's dabbling, and that's a Commonwealth country. This does not look good to me. Now, of course, a blind item came out. Take it with a pinch of salt. I always do. But it says that apparently it looks like Harry had a date there. That wouldn't surprise me. So in the meantime, Harry and Meghan are putting out the love story. "Oh yeah, we're fine. We reset. We're good." All right. Now let's move on to something else that happened that's really funny. The Real Housewives of London cast was talking about if you had to bring somebody in, who would you bring in as another Real Housewife? They tossed around Jennifer Aniston. They tossed around Eva Longoria. And then Meghan Markle got mentioned. Listen to this.
And obviously the other shows, the other Real Housewives shows, have had like guest stars and in them. So what celebrity do you think would make a great housewife? If you could have anyone join.
Not a housewife from other franchise, a celebrity,
No,
right?
like a celebrity, yeah.
Like an A-lister?
Yeah.
I would say Jennifer Aniston.
Victoria Beckham would be a good
Eva Longoria. Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't be able to tell you apart.
Is she?
No. Oh, you want a house?
Well, I guess they have
What
to be,
about
right?
Meghan Markle?
Oh.
No, we're not.
I'd rather not.
No,
I don't want Meghan Markle on our show now.
I think Kate would be wonderful.
Yeah. I've said
a royal.
We all have a soft spot for a
Right, yeah, you should probably have like
We
a
all have a
Brit
soft
Yeah, because
join.
she would surprise people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's tough as nails.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
So elegant.
Yeah, and she's got a great house.
That's true. Have you been invited? Have you been invited round yet?
Oh, well, you know.
Many times.
Yeah.
Finally, well, child, why they have kept this man-child drug-addicted person on as their patron, I don't know. But of course, they put out their annual report. So Harry, because everything's going on with the royals, he wrote a letter and said it was an immense pressure that Health and Social Services face. They are going to provide a lifeline. And he wrote this letter all about the charity. God, they need to kick him to the curb. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Put those comments down, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then you're going to go down into the description box where you're going to find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, as well as a link to our Amazon wish list and a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.